If you are hearing this message, that means something terrible has happened, probably an XK class scenario. Behind this recording monitor is the containment cell to SCP-8728. This SCP, as you may not know, is a paper along with the dimensions of 1 foot by 6 inches. This specific paper is not to be underestimated. Similar to SCP-096, if you see this paper, something very terrible can happen. The first thing you see in it, the first thing your brain recognizes as it to look like, is your form of death. On SCP-8728 is a scribble, also known as 8728-A. This is the main cause for most death. For, if you are to familiarize this scribble to look like somewhat of a tornado, stay away from Idaho. SCP-8728 has also been the cause of many tests. Dr. Clerkins and Dr. Serena have been in charge of familiarizing themselves with 8728. They have conducted many tests on 8728, many including D-Class personnel. In one test, they led 2 D-Class personnel into the containment chamber. They led one of them to observe 8728 for 5 minutes straight, as for the other one to stay outside the containment. They then interrogated the D-Class who observed 8728 and asked them as to what they saw in the scribble. These 2 D-Class personnel were then placed in quarantine for a very long time and were studied until we found our answer. The D-Class that has observed 8728 believed he saw a wild boar. Now, there is no way that a wild boar can breach containment into the SCP facility when they're in quarantine. So, they led him into quarantine and observed him for 2 months straight. At the end of the 2nd month, a surprisingly containment breach with 682 caused a new breach in the wall. This wall was the same one containing the quarantine of the D-Class personnel. He then managed to escape this crude facility and found himself off in the desert. And you guessed it, wild boar snuck up behind him, and all that was left was a corpse. This video was recorded via the SCP-8728 containment. And remember, we die in the dark for others to live in the light.